The percentage of men making over $100,000 a year, what do you think it is?
Men making over $100,000
a year? Because you and a bunch of girls are making $100K a month on OF.
I'm going to say people that are making over $100,000 a month.
$100,000 a year.
I mean, a year. Sorry. I'm going to go with like 30%.
No, I think it puts you in the top 17% or something
Really?
like that. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, to put you in the top 1%, you have to make $550,000.
0.1%? Or the 1%?
1%.
Wow.
What do you think the average guy in the United States makes?
Maybe like 60?
39.
Is that about average?
Makes 39.
Shout out to Michael Sartain and his Men of Action or MOA Podcast. Links to his information and channels down below. But when I saw this short of his, it got me thinking, what a teachable moment this clip provides. Because I said down in the comment section below this short that this woman is the apex fallacy in the flesh. There was a guy, I imagine he's English, UK NASA 007, was unclear what I meant by that. And he answered to me, meaning, like, what do I mean by that? And I left a response, but it ended up getting deleted, unfortunately. No profanity, but it was a little spicy. I'll admit that freely. So I don't know if he ever even saw my response, but hopefully he'll see this video, because it got me thinking that if he didn't quite understand what I meant by that, there's a likelihood that some of you guys in my audience have never heard of or unfamiliar with this concept as well. So, two birds, one stone. So, UK NASA 007. This is for you and to my guys in the network. Here we go. The apex fallacy is a noun. Apex fallacy, plural, apex fallacies. The informal fallacy, which is a falsehood or fake way of thinking, of evaluating a population based only on its apex, its best members. This is what you get, guys, and it branches off into two sections. There's the naivete section, and there's the malicious section. Naivete is where I think this young lady falls. Now, she's an OF creator out there. Michael Sartain is based out of Las Vegas. You can imagine what's going on out there because pretty much everything's legal. She's got, in my opinion, a very attractive face. She's had some work done. The lip fillers, you can't miss them. The aftermarket cup size, you can't miss that. The pierced nipples, again, if you know, you know. She's making a lot of money. She and her friends are making several hundreds of thousands of dollars monthly due to things that are very dangerous, like the male loneliness epidemic, which is very easy to monetize, unfortunately. She can't imagine, because a woman who looks like this, who's in her early mid-20s in Las Vegas, is going to be showered with all kinds of praise and gifts. She's going to be surrounded by multi-millionaires, perhaps even billionaires, because again, Las Vegas is a rock's throw away from San Francisco, which is Silicon Valley. A lot of guys who didn't have any social skills growing up, but they were very smart, have made a lot of money in Silicon Valley. And they come to Vegas, and they got money to spend, they got money to burn. And when a woman like this, who, looking at her, she's probably, she's racially ambiguous. I'm guessing she's European and Southeast Asian, or perhaps Pacific Islander. So yeah, she's attractive. I'll give her that. I couldn't deal with her because of what she does for a living. But the thing is, a guy with no social cues, a guy who's not properly socially calibrated, would love to have a woman like her on his arm. Getting away from the subject. Apologize for that. My point being is, I think she's more on the naivete side of the apex fallacy, in that because she's surrounded by and keeps the company of so many high-income, high-status men, and because she's getting ran through by so many high-income, high-status men. Remember, the Raiders just moved to Vegas not too long ago. So, and all their infrastructure, all their players, coaches, these guys are very, very highly paid. And so, if she's just dealing with them, not to mention the Golden Knights, the hockey team, so forth and so on, there are men who are around her all the time with big time money to spend and money to blow. They don't even miss it when they blow it. She thinks that's normal. That's become her normal. That now she herself is a multimillionaire due to the thirstiness of men who, for whatever reason, can't get women in real life. They make her their only friend, okay? And you saw how she was stumbling, just trying to bring down her expectations to 60 grand. The look on her face when Michael told her that it's less than half or even that, which is the average for most men. Most women like her. And again, I'm not getting on her, I'm not jumping on her, trying to attack her, nothing like that. But my point is, most men who do the jobs that make this country work are entirely invisible to women. They don't see the guy that was stocking the shelves at Walgreens when they ran in real quick to get some tampons because they were all out at the house. You don't see that guy. Even if he says hi to her, she might say hi and keep it moving over to the feminine hygiene product section, grab her stuff, throw it on the counter, pay her money, and get the hell up out of there so she doesn't embarrass herself by staining herself because she ran out at the house, like I mentioned in this example earlier. But my point is, they don't see him. That guy's invisible to her because he's not at the status where which she has convinced herself she belongs and or deserves. Now, the flip side of that, of course, from naivete, she just doesn't know, is the malicious side of it. And this is where feminism, and for the rest of the video, I'll be referring to them as feminists because I don't want to trigger the dark side of YouTube's algorithm. Certain words get said, certain bad things happen. Feminists are very methodical in their fake worldview. Feminists don't believe a single word that they say. And I'll address that in more detail in a future video. But for right now, so have your attention. They don't believe a thing that they say because it's all narrative and no facts. They constantly talk about how there's not enough women in STEM. There's not enough women as CEOs. There's not enough women in all these high-powered, high-prestige, high-status, high-income fields. Okay, fine. If you want to have that conversation, we can. But you notice how they never talk about there's not enough female garbage collectors, brick masons, HVAC technicians, ASE certified mechanics? You ever notice how there's not any talk at all about how there's not enough women working at the shipyards as longshoremen? How there's not enough women working down in the coal mines of West Virginia and Western Pennsylvania? How there's not enough women in cobalt and copper mines digging out those precious resources for heavy industry? We never talk about the fact feminists hardly ever discuss the fact that the lion's share of the homeless are men. They never talk about the fact that the lion's share of all SUI sides are men. You can't pay them to bring up in conversation that 97% of every alimony check written is from a man to a woman. And when it does happen in the other way around, it's a newsworthy event. Britney Spears, Halle Berry, Adele, Wendy Williams, Mary J. Blige. The list is short, but it keeps going because as time goes on and these high-powered Super Saiyan boss chicks are making all this money and the marriages fall apart, well, you know what? These laws you have done nothing to make fair are now being turned around and aimed at you. Again, I'm not jumping on this young lady's case on the frame here. She's a pretty girl. She's young. She's got the world in the palm of her hand, and she's in the prime of her sexual power. She's in the prime of her fertility window. This is the time where she should have been consolidating on a good man to take care of her, to love her, to give her children. But no, right now she's living her quote-unquote best life in her hot girl summer, making all the money she can hardly ever spend, even on all them purses and shoes I'm sure she has in her collection. But this train will derail one day. The wall is undefeated, undisputed, and inevitable. There's no stopping it. You know, Botox be damned, wrinkles are coming. Clairol be damned, gray hair is coming. And when you've paid for boobs that you didn't actually grow, they're that much more susceptible to gravity, which is a constant force and an ever-present threat. Now, you can get all this stuff redone, and there's a surgeon out there who'll gladly take your money. But, you know, the more plastic surgery you have done, the more you look like you've had plastic surgery done. So sometimes it's a tiger eating its own tail as far as that's concerned. But I wanted to revisit this idea about the apex fallacy, guys, because a lot of women you've encountered along the way and some you haven't even met yet have fallen into this. And one of the other reasons is feminists use the apex fallacies because as long as the apex fallacy is pushed to the forefront of women's minds through media, through textbooks in school and college, through movies and all kinds of other things that can get this message out to them. Number one, it allows them to see themselves as much more than they are, and it gives them a false equivalency to what their actual SMV, which is their sexual marketplace value. Or for you guys who are new here, welcome. Hit that like button. Your SMV roughly boiled down to its basic essence is, where do you stack up on the scale of 1 to 10 in terms of looks, in terms of physique, in terms of finance, things of that nature. Women have, and especially here in the West, a grossly inflated SMV, and they don't have any idea what they really are on that scale. They'll be overweight. They'll be rude. They'll be in no way domestic. They eat out all the time. Or they don't eat out, they microwave. They can't fix a meal from scratch. These are women who aren't maternal. So even if you got her pregnant, she'd be an awful mother. These are women who have tattoos all over themselves, looking like somebody sprayed them down with graffiti. And the list goes on and on. We're talking about women who are quite literally the worst of the options human beings have ever had to pick from. And yet they all think they deserve a guy who's 6'8", making $4.5 million a month, with a 15-inch hammer swing between his legs. It's insane what these women think they want and think they deserve when they are average as fuck across all of the different metrics. What also happens with the apex fallacy is, as long as they feel, keyword feel, that the apex fallacy is real, then guess what? They get to play victim. They get to complain about the so-called glass ceiling. They get to complain about how men always have the advantage simply by virtue of being men and nothing else. This doesn't take into consideration a man's hard work. It doesn't take into consideration his sacrifices to get where he is in life. It doesn't take into consideration all the years of trials and tribulations he had to overcome to get where he is. Nope, he's a man. He was lucky. He just snapped his fingers and there was his yacht. That's the core of the apex fallacy, and that's why feminists love to use it as a bludgeon to beat us around the head, neck, and shoulders with. Meanwhile, they ignore the real men who they walk past every day, who they think, because again of their inflated, grossly overinflated SMV, that they're too good for. Men who are actually on their level. Again, I'm not here to dog out this young lady. She's in a whole other bracket as far as the IRS is concerned. If she's even paying her taxes, who the hell even knows about that part? I won't get into it. But yeah, women like her have become so accustomed to guys in that level that that's all they see, that's all they want. And most women who don't look anywhere near as good as she does and aren't anywhere near as nice in the figure as she is think they deserve the same thing. Sad to watch, but now you get it. And that said, that's my time. Like the video, comment down below, share with a friend, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Never let your brother suffer in silence when the truth can set him free. Networkers, we working. Until next time.